Now that you've learned the basics of how Linux works using a bootable USB thumb drive, let's install Linux onto our hard drive so we have a dedicated machine for learning .NET on Linux. This video is part of a series dedicated to developing C# applications on Linux. Along the way, we'll gain a better knowledge of how Linux works and how to make our apps truly cross-platform. If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel to stay informed of new episodes as they come out. And if you're looking for even more .NET, SQL, and even AI training, go to iamtimcorey.com. Now, what we're going to do today is install Linux Mint on my desktop machine. However, if you don't have a dedicated desktop machine, no worries, you can install it into a virtual machine on Windows or even on Mac. Or if you want, you can find an old PC or an old laptop or something else that maybe doesn't do anything else well, but can run Linux. So you don't have to invest in hardware. I encourage you, don't just go out and buy something, but you don't just have to wipe out your primary machine either. There are other options depending on your circumstances. But for me, I've got a machine laying around that I can use. So therefore, what I'm going to first do is go here. I'm on the USB drive right now, which is why we got Linux Mint installed and running, or just running, not installed. I'm going to click the Install Linux Media and launch this. So what this is going to do is prepare my system for installing on the hard drive that's in my computer. So I'm going to start with saying, yes, I want to start with English. I want to use the English US keyboard. And yes, there are other options. You can also detect your keyboard layout if you're not using a US keyboard. And then from there, I am not going to install the, I'm not going to, yes, I'll go ahead and install the multimedia codecs. And do you want to configure a secure boot? So secure boot is required for some things. So you'll need to know what that security key is. So I am going to put in a password, which, let me go ahead and type this out. There we go. And make sure you confirm what that password is. Okay, so let's hit continue. And it's preparing Ubuntu drivers, which you may say, wait, I'm on Mint. Yes, because Mint is a flavor of Ubuntu. So that's what's going on. Now, do you want to install Linux Mint alongside the Windows Boot Manager? So that would allow you to keep your files, etc. I'm not going to do that. I am going to erase the disk and install Linux Mint. So that's going to erase everything. It's going to erase all my programs, my documents, my photos, my music, and any other files in the operating system. This is important. So I want you to make sure that if you do this option, that you are pointed at the right drive, which we haven't selected yet, but it's looking at my hard drive. So it's going to be my hard drive. Make sure that you've backed up your entire hard drive. Make sure there's no files on there that you want to keep, because it's too late once this happens. There's not an undo button to this. We can go into advanced feature and just look. Do you want to use LVM with a new Linux Mint installation? I'm going to say no to that. Right? I'm not going to do any advanced features. Let's install now. So this is going to wipe out my hard drive. And it's going to destroy all the data. Are you sure? This is, again, a good thing that's prompting you. Are you sure? And by default, notice the little outline here indicates that if I hit the space bar, it would go back. Because by default, the solution or the answer is no, go back, as opposed to by default hitting continue. So it's being doubly sure that yes, we do want to continue, because we have to verify that. But I do. I want to continue. I want to go ahead and wipe out all of my files. Yes, I'm in the Chicago time zone. This is kind of a nice feature because you can just select the time zone as opposed to finding a city in that time zone. Because I'm nowhere near Chicago. I'm in Texas. So there's a long way between where I am and Chicago, but I just kind of have to know it. Okay, what's your name? Tim Corey, I'll put the whole thing. And what's my computer name? Tim's Linux desktop. And username is Tim. Password, I will, oh, there we go. And it's a fair password, sure. Okay, and I want to log in automatically. I don't care about having a prompt for my password. So with that, we're almost finished. So it's just a matter of running through this process. You can peek at what's happening. So it's going to go through and install Linux to my main hard drive, again, wiping out all the files. So one last time, I kind of have to do this. I used to work as an IT director. I used to work a lot with users and their computers and them making decisions about their computers. And this is something that the help desk dealt with a lot, where people made a decision and then go, oh, I need to undo that. And it's too late sometimes. It's not something where you can just undo. So make sure that you remember, you hear me say clearly, back up your files first. Don't assume they're backed up. Don't think, well, I think I have them. No, make sure that you back them up. Buy a cheap external hard drive and copy everything over. Then verify they all worked. That's the other thing, is when you back things up, they're not actually fully backed up until you've tested that backup. Otherwise, what happens is you assume they're there, and then you find out, oops, I didn't actually back everything up. So that's just my, it's happened before type of hard-won lesson of making sure users know to be very careful. Okay, I'm going to pause this video and I'll come back once this installation is complete. And we're done. So now we can continue testing. Just means keep using the USB drive as it is, or we can restart now. Now, in order to restart now, we do need to change that BIOS back or unplug the thumb drive. But I'm going to leave it in for now. I believe that leave it in briefly. So we'll reboot and make sure that it does boot off of the hard drive installation. So it says remove the installation medium and then press enter. Otherwise, what happens is you reboot back to the thumb drive and it looks like Linux Mint. So now I've removed the thumb drive, I can hit enter. We're going to reboot like normal. And this time we'll boot to our hard drive, which has Linux installed. It should be a faster installation or faster running operating system now. We're going to continue the boot and boot right into Linux. And there we go. Now, we have a startup dialog. Before you even get to that dialog, though, let's go ahead and hit our Windows key and type display, hit enter, and change that to 200%. Again, this is for my machine. You don't have to do that if yours doesn't need it, but this way you can actually read what's on the screen. Okay, let's go. Let's get moving. It allows us to choose our desktop color. So this is going to walk us through some of the basics of the setup. So it tells us, hey, if you want to change your desktop colors, let's go ahead and hit launch on that. I like a dark mode, so fully dark mode, not a mixed mode. So I'm going to do that. But you can choose in your color scheme if you want to change the color scheme. And then system snapshots. So this is about backing up your machine. I'm not going to do this, but I encourage you to do this if you're actually going to use Linux, not just for a testing device, but actually for a daily driver, etc. So we can check for additional drivers to see if we need additional drivers on our machine or if we're good. That's another thing we can do. And no proprietary drivers is in use. The device is using an alternate driver. This is what's recommended. So I can hit OK, that's recommended, and hit apply. That's my, I have to put my password in because it requires authentication in order to do that. And so it's saying, hey, let's elevate to an administrative ability to make system changes. Because by default, I'm a user, and users don't have permission to change things that could cause problems. This, I needed to have an admin level permission in order to make those changes to my hard drive. So this is important things to do, is to make sure that you are using, by default you are using the user permission, not the admin permission. That's something that Windows kind of gets right sometimes, where you have the UAC prompts, but it's not nearly as delineated sometimes as Linux is. I like how Linux is really careful about permissions, what you can and can't do. It's going to annoy you sometimes, but that's okay, because security should be annoying rather than be letting too many things in. There's a weird balance to hit there. It's hard to do, but just be thankful every time you see that dialog pop up that's protecting you rather than allowing things that it shouldn't. Okay, let's go back and look through this list while we're doing this. Update Manager, we can launch the Update Manager and check to see if we have any updates. This is kind of like Windows Updates, where it's going to check for any updates to software in your computer. A new version of Update Manager is available. So I will wait until this. Well, we have to restart this in order to apply it. I'm going to apply the update first. And again, password, because it's going to change my computer. Now we have the new update version. It's saying, hey, there's a whole bunch of things like Firefox web browser has a new version, and all the rest of the stuff, a new Python version, and Thunderbird has a new version, and a bunch of stuff in here. You might say, wow, there's an awful lot of stuff. Yeah, you can uninstall if you want, but this comes out of the box ready to help you, ready to work with like it is a Windows machine, but with some extras installed. So yes, I want to update these. I want to install these updates. So go ahead and do that. I can use a local mirror if I wanted to. If we had that, we don't. The nice thing is if you have a bunch of Linux machines on your network, you could have the updates downloaded to one central location and then point to that instead of to the web to get these updates. And it'll be a lot faster for the downloads. But as it is, I'm already halfway through the downloads. While that's doing that, let's come back and look at System Settings, Software Manager. If you want to install software, you can launch this and see. There's a lot of software available for Linux now. It's not like it used to be. It used to be that Linux felt like it was about 20 years out of date and had no software. And that's not the case anymore. It now has a lot of software available to it. It's got a lot of modern software. Like I said in an earlier video, if you want to play games, then you can download the Steam client and have a whole bunch of Steam games. Steam has been really good about helping more and more games move over to Linux because of the fact they have the Steam Deck, which is Linux-based, and so they wanted to help more games work on that. Okay, so I'm making this thing do a whole lot of things all at once. It's still installing packages. It's waiting to restart on my NVIDIA drivers, and it's rebuilding the cache for our software manager. So while we're doing that, let's keep going, because why not? All right, one last thing is firewall. You can control and monitor the network by launching the firewall. Again, because the firewall is so sensitive, we're going to have security on it. Okay, I'm on my home profile. Right now, it's turned off. I turned it on. I can deny incoming, or I can allow it, etc. You can configure this how you want. There's a lot of things you can do here. You can read more about it. Set up rules about what can come in and what can't come in. This is really going to increase your level of security if you want to go this far. This will allow you to protect yourself even from other devices on your own network. Your network should have at the edge, your router and firewall combination should protect a lot of stuff, but this would protect you even more against things inside your network in case one machine gets a virus or something else. You could protect yourself against that machine. So I would encourage you to check that out if you know what you're doing, and if not, maybe read up on that. Okay, system's up to date, so you can close that out. The cache is still rebuilding, and we're done with the first steps. We've gone through, at least looked at these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to uncheck this show it dialog. Let's say keep it there because we haven't yet done the software manager. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to restart because it needs it. Okay, we're back, and because we installed the new display drivers, I'm going to go back to the display and go back to 200% because they didn't keep that because of the new drivers. Okay, back here, we've gone through this. We changed the color mode. We're in dark mode only. We didn't do snapshots. We probably should. We update our drivers. We did the update manager, but we're on this. We didn't have to worry about system settings. We could, let's take a peek at it. This is kind of like the control panel. So check out here if you want to check out themes, or if you want to change the desktop or the background or hot corners, gestures, etc. That's all there for you to do it, including a screensaver, which I haven't used a screensaver in forever. But with that, you can also just go hit your Windows key and type system. You get system settings here, as well as system monitor, by the way. System monitor is like your task manager. So there you go. There's your processes. There's your resources. You can get some cool graphs here going and see what your disk usage is, your network usage, and your memory usage. You can even look at additional information about how many CPUs you have and what each of them is doing. There's some cool stuff here, but we're going to close it out and look at this software manager. And again, it's going to take a minute to rebuild the cache. So with that, we have Linux installed. I'm going to uncheck this box here to not show us again at startup. And now we're ready to start using Linux. We've installed Linux. We've configured the basics of Linux. And now what we need to do is just start using it. So down here, there is a system report that needs my attention. Let's click that and just see what's going on here. But like I said, try us out, check it out. It wants me to launch Timeshift to set up the system restore utility, which I didn't do. That's for snapshotting, for backing up your PC. I'm not going to do that. But again, I would encourage you to do that if you're going to use Linux as your daily driver. So with this, I would encourage you to check this out, try it out, make sure that you understand how Linux works, and just start using it on a daily basis and see how far you get. What are the roadblocks you hit when you start using Linux? Now, next up, what we'll do is we're actually going to do a side quest. Next, we're going to install Edge. Because again, I told you before, I'm not a big fan of Firefox as the default browser. Firefox, just for reasons why. Firefox, we use go to Can I Use? You go to Can I Use and look at some of the features in newer versions of HTML, you'll find that Firefox is often the one that's the farthest back. Okay, some things it supports just fine, but sometimes you'll see that Firefox is falling behind. Like this feature, it's supported by Firefox, but not every feature is. And so I have found that it's just not quite up to date for what I want to do. And quite frankly, if you look at the list of different browsers, well, Firefox is pretty good. Safari is pretty bad when it comes to support. Edge is Chromium. Chrome is Chromium. IE shouldn't be on an AIM-based machine anymore. And even other browsers like Brave are Chromium. So they're all based upon the same basic engine. I prefer to use a Chromium engine because of the fact that's what most people use, and I'm a web developer. So when I look at what are most people using, it's a Chromium-based browser. Therefore, I want that to be the one that is most likely to support everything I need. Plus, I like some of the features of Edge, and believe it or not, it's more performant than Chrome. So that's another reason why I choose Edge over other flavors of Chromium. So we'll get into that in our side quest. And then from there, what we're going to do is we're going to install .NET and the .NET SDK and also the VS Code and go from there. But until then, we now have a software manager, find the cache updated. Notice this is like a modern platform with modern options. We got Steam, we've got FileZilla, we had Spotify before. Lots of cool stuff you can install here. VLC, Dropbox, VirtualBox, Blender, Audacity, and so on. So lots of stuff here you can check out and install if you need a thing that you have on Windows that you need to have an equivalent over here. Definitely check those out. But for now, play around, find out where your edges are, where your gaps are besides .NET, and then we'll go in and install .NET and get started with that after our side quest to install Edge. Thanks for watching. As always, I am Tim Corey.